Okay, I will open the surgery with the first case here from Ida Schomber from very good cinema, who won the first prize of the programming 2 years ago, right?
Not 2 years ago.
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
A while ago, yeah.
when in Germany, when we try to find a good program, we always check the program from the cinema. So it's very, very nice. Okay, welcome, Ida. It's your stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, for those of you I haven't talked to yet. My name is Ida, and I work in an art house cinema called Traumstern. That's closer, okay. In a small German town called Lich. And I want to give you a short input about a project I'm working on right now. It is about reinventing our foyer with the focus on creating space to communicate and to interact. To begin with, I want to show you how our foyer used to look like a couple of weeks ago and how I came up with a concept to reinvent the space. I'm going to show you the issues we had, the ideas we wanted to implement, always keeping in mind to make space for communication. Okay, these pictures show how our foyer used to look like for quite a while. We are still recovering from COVID, so due to the pandemic, we had to alternate our foyer because of the restrictions and guidelines we needed to maintain. We had to improvise a lot during that time, and since then, nobody really took care of it. So it just lost lots of its charm and atmosphere, and there was also not a room concept anymore. We also didn't use the space very efficiently, so many corners of the room weren't really accessible, which does not make it really welcoming, and especially the foyer is supposed to be for the audience and is supposed to be used for the audience. So before writing a concept with a budget plan and a schedule and a deadline and so on, I thought about the main aspects we wanted to change and really think about what we want to achieve in the end. And I did not just want it to be nice and cozy again. I wanted to open up the space and use the room we have. It was also important to me to refurbish it without losing the spirit of our film theater. The cinema was founded 42 years ago as a self-organized collective, and it has always been an alternative cultural institution where creative people came in and brought their ideas, and I wanted to keep that, and I did not want to lose this vibe. I also believe it is one of our main duties as an art house cinema to create a space where people can connect, and the foyer is the place for people to talk about the films they just have seen and the topics they've just been confronted with. A place to discuss and even argue maybe, but for that you need to feel comfortable, of course. So I also wanted it to become more interactive, to encourage the audience to do so and to, communicate. I talked with my coworkers about my thoughts, and almost every one of them had certain ideas to how to change the foyer or what they wanted to do. So I started to collect them and try to combine them. And I also thought about using the things we already have and the given circumstances. So like our yellow walls, I'm not so happy with them, but it's something we're not going to change within the next year, at least. So in the end, I came up with a very 70s inspired room concept. And as you can see, I try to draw my ideas to visualize it. Don't worry, it's not that colorful in real life. I just needed something to visualize it for myself, maybe. Nevertheless, we had to keep in mind that this project would be low budget. We only have a certain amount of resources and capacities we were able to bring in. I wanted a change. I'm very impatient, so I wanted now something to change. So we also built a solar panel on our roof at the same time as this project started, so we had limited resources. But of course, I wanted to make the biggest possible impact as well. And now we come to the biggest change we made, and that was building a stage into our foyer. And I'm going to explain how we came up with that idea and why. But first, I brought you some pictures. As you can see here, we used to be connected with the pub next to us, but now there are separate entrances. So behind the Flow poster is actually the door to the pub. So after this entrance was closed, we used to have, I don't know if you can see it, but there was just this hole in the ground with some stairs down. And it wasn't very appealing, and we just lost lots of space because of it. And with that closed entrance, you just couldn't use, there was no use to it. So as you can see on the right side, we used the ceiling to frame the stage. And if you ask me, it looks like there belonged a stage in the first place, like the ceiling is supposed to mark this stage. So yeah, that we used for orientation. That took us a while, and the result is a stage of round about 5 square meters. I have to say the picture is not even up to date anymore. We built a pinboard into the door frame for posters so that you don't see the door anymore. And I also brought some coffee table books about film for the people to read while waiting. And the idea of the stage serves the idea of creating space for communication. The space couldn't been used before. Now it is a place to sit, have a coffee, and wait for the film to start. And we also, and that was probably the main idea to build the stage, we have many special guests, like actors, directors, filmmakers, etc. So now we can choose to have the film discussions after the screening in the foyer to make it more intimate and inclusive, especially for smaller events. It's going to work out really well, I think. We do have a lot of readings to concerts, and I think we can use this stage for this quite well. And the stage also ties up the 70s room concept I created and is a little bit the centerpiece of the foyer now. Also, besides building the stage, we're still working on the foyer right now. It's still a process. We exchanged furniture to serve the new concept, and we removed and redecorated to make the room more accessible. I'd say around about 90% of the furniture is secondhand. So with the 70s inspired theme, it makes it more authentic. Like the armchairs you've seen on the stage, I was looking for them for a while, and they're originally 70s, and they're perfectly fine, and I'm very proud that I found them. And it, of course, it also makes it more sustainable. That's also, I think, a really nice aspect to it. We also have now, I'd call it a wall of Traumstern with photographs of 40 years of cinema. Most of our audience visits us for years and years, and I thought it would be nice to make them remember certain events and feel seen that they support us for such a long time. I also want to implement, that's pretty much the next step, implement participation activities that even if somebody goes to the cinema alone, is still able to exchange thoughts with other visitors, or I don't know, yeah, the experience of a certain film. And now I'd love to show you pictures of the progress, because last week has happened quite a lot, but the presentation was already sent. Yeah, but like I said, we're still in the process. And I think with the resources we have, I think we change a lot right now, especially with my impatience. And like I said, I always have communication and interaction as key terms in mind when I think about new ideas. Yeah, so that's always the goal, I think. Yeah, that was already it. That was my input. Thanks for your attention.
Well, thank you, thank you, Ida. Thank you very
Do
much.
I stay here or do I leave? What do I do? I stay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, no. Yes. Ida, did you have any support from outside, from an architect or something like that?
No, that's a little bit the problem. I think we have a lot of, I don't know, handy people who are able to help us. We have like a carpenter who works with us for a long time, so he knows how to make things low budget and can help us to think about ideas and what makes sense and what doesn't. But especially things like design or a nice color scheme would be nice and stuff like that. I don't really. It's a try and error thing, I think, because we don't have an architect to help us. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a question?
So when we were outside, you were
Yes.
saying that you actually do need quite a bit of help with the next phase of the project.
Yes.
So how can we help you? What is there any elements that you'd like some feedback on, or even the current design? I mean, I think it's fab that you've managed to sort of solve a problem, haven't you, of that door and everything. Obviously, in terms of access, having a stage is not super accessible.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
something you're thinking about?
We thought about that for sure, because like I said before, there was just this hole in the ground, so it wasn't accessible at all, and I always thought it's a bit dangerous to have this hole with stairs. And we thought to make it even in the first place, so we just closed this hole. But then we thought about this stage as a place for events, like I said, so that we can really, that we have this possibility to have a guest up there and to overlook the whole foyer. So, yeah. And what I'm asking you maybe is, I feel like we in our cinema know what we want to achieve, or what we like to make accessible, for example, but sometimes I think it just yeah, like I said, sometimes we don't know how to do it actually, and how to make it pretty and with a tied up concept and stuff like that. Yeah.
How big is the foyer in terms of square meters?
I don't know. We do have a lot of space. I'd say about, I don't know, maybe 40 square
40,
meters, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Jean-Marc, any comments?
I understood that to make a stage, but when you have invited, you
Yeah.
invited people, that's also because I wonder to myself what is above the floor, because not why, but the same level.
Yeah.
So you did it because this is a stage.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for
Exactly,
presentations, I understand now.
Yeah.
But and perhaps that that the whole of the doors, we can make some shelves or things. Perhaps.
Okay. Yeah. I actually thought about the stairs as something like a bench situation, that you had like pillows down there, and that but it's always yeah. It was like, that's what I said. So we have to do it all by ourselves. We don't have an architect, so it's always
Sure.
we have meetings and we think about it, and then somebody has to do it. But yeah.
Oui.
Any questions? Here.
Okay, I have a question. Why you didn't have an architect? Like, was it about the money, or it was your decision not to ask architect to help?
That was something we knew, that the foyer is something we need to take care of, but there are other, I think, issues that come first, that are more important right now. We need the money we have for. But like I said, everybody was unhappy with the foyer situation. And I thought about, okay, what can we do? Or what can we do without professional help to change it, at least to make it more comfortable and to make it more accessible with the least resources possible.
So it's a kind of budget thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Jean-Marc, about budget, is it always a pressure thing in the construction work?
Yes.
Yeah, but in which
I never had that open bar. What I have to do, Fatima? Yeah? Sit down. Okay.
Yeah. Just, take this one. Take this one.
Okay. Yeah. I know Fatima. We have always a budget, and it's good to have. You know, it's difficult for an architect to start without budget, because
yes, I get that.
I know we have to make several times 7 rows of the project, and if there is no budget, we have to make a preliminary study, a first phase, to say the project will be, by example, to make a cinema room of 100 seats, and for this budget and this calendar, the schedule, you know. And when we have these 3 parts, we can start the whole studies. And before it's too soon. So it's what I would like to say, but because I understand that work with architects, I would be afraid of it if I didn't. And sometimes we have some point of views. You know, I remember that before to make the studies of architecture, I hate the concrete. And since the studies, I love the concrete. So something changed in my mind. So. But what you can ask to an architect is to make several scenarios. You choose. So this is a benefit of to have an architect. And after I stop, I hand that we speak about 10%, but we are able to decrease 10% of the bidding of the invoice, because we can make more details. We can make details, and you know, when for the contractors, when they don't have details, they put some provision fees. You know, if the client want to change something, or so, they make a lot of provisions discreetly. But if you make a drawings, we can check the quantities, the prices per square meter, by example, and we can decrease the prices.
I also ask about this because, in my opinion, and because I'm just after renovation of the face of my cinema theater, I know that if you if you invite architects to cooperate, it doesn't mean that it will be great, and it doesn't mean that you can be safe with this. Because I remember when I started to work in Rialto, we just started on a renovation, and when I saw this project for this renovation it's like renovation of the just face of the building, not inside. I'm not architect, but I just realized, oh my God, I think that it's not really proper. And my luck was that my husband is an architect, so he was like really, really volunteer.
Congrats.
I brought him for every meeting, and my luck was that the company who made this renovation was really great. And to be honest, this project didn't help us to save money, because I think that if you have like really good project made of, you know, good architect, you can really save the money, even if you have to spend this money for architect. But on the other hand, when you have like shitty project that we had to spend so much money then, because they didn't do so many things which are so like priorities, I would say. So my luck was that I have my architect next to me at home. So in the evening, you can imagine every day was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? Why we don't have like good new installation for the lights? Because you know now we have new techniques, right? And we should have like new lights for this is like just example. Another problem was with the roof that we had to find a lot of money because when they started to renovate, they just like, oh my God, we need like 100,000 more zlotys for this. So yeah, the first thing is that I really believe in architects. But on the other hand, if you are, especially if you're a public institution, you have to ask several architects and then you have to choose the cheapest one. Yeah, and then you have to count on this person. And in the end, it doesn't mean that it will be great. So, you know, for me, this huge issue, I would say, especially for old cinemas, old building at all.
Yeah, so,
finally.
and it's always
You know,
bringing an idea to an architect
believe in
together,
architects.
so,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, this is public spaces, but this is public equipment, and there's a lot of rules because you know about the fire classment, but you know there is a height of the steps, but a lot of things. But we need years to integrate, but to have this that in mind and to try to make something aesthetic at the end, and. But I encourage that we can do music without learn music. But we hear music. But when we are in my university, I say always to my students, you know, that in architecture it's like music. You can do music alone, but it's longer. But if you ask the musician, how did you learn? But I heard this man, I heard this woman, but I'm very, very fascinated by the playings of this guy.
So inspirations from outside.
This is inspiration always. And when we are making a project, this is a result of all this inspiration and to culture about the subject. Because I don't want to speak about me, but I visit all the cinemas. Every time that I'm in holidays, I'm borrowing my wife to visit cinemas and see architecture. But we dream about that. But no.
Yeah. Do you have some questions? Okay.
So, hello, Ida. I just wanted to ask you, since you said this is still work in progress, did you already have opportunity to actually test your new stage and your new design with the audience? How did they react, if you did?
We didn't. We don't have a. Our next film discussion is in July, so I hope that we will really try to have the film discussion in the foyer, but also for the audience. I mean, it's also just a spot for them to wait and to talk about the film, and they're always the first seats taken. So I'm still, because it's quite new, very happy when people come in and sit down there. So I think for that purpose, it really works out, and it's a nice place to sit. And as I said, when you sit up there, you really overlook the whole foyer, so it's quite nice, I think.